Hey on. Okay, here we are at your Stover property. So we had a nice little walkthrough with Gillian. So you told me to tell you everything. So don't you come back to me and smack my bottom if I tell you something you don't want to hear. So yes, front yard is not in great condition. This is a big lot, as you know, so we definitely need to clean this up. We can talk more in detail about maybe half xeriscaped, half sod. I think finding that survey is going to be key to know how much is yours. I would not spend money on a fence around here because you've got enough room out back. Okay, so it doesn't look like too many branches are touching the roof there, but that's something you'd want to look at. I do think we need to get rid of the 1209 statue. It's cool, don't get me wrong, it's just not in keeping with the house. You've got a 1980s bird bath with some postmodern sculpture with a 60s style, 70s style house. Your grading's a little flat along here, which may be why some of this brick veneer has cracked. The ground has kind of come away from underneath it. That's going to need to be addressed. Maybe the best way to address that is frankly to paint the brick, which breaks my heart because I love this brick. But you've even got giant big chunks of brick that have come away. And then, you know, like I say, your grading here is pretty flat. There are some raised areas. And I gotta say for the record, right, I am not a home inspector. I am a realtor that's spent a lot of time with home inspectors, and I've got a really good eye for what a home needs. But again, massively deteriorated here. That's quite peculiar. So cracking. At some point, did they take away part of this sidewalk? Cracks here on the corner. And, you know, this is highly likely just a veneer. I'm pretty sure it's a veneer, but it's all about perception. And when a buyer sees this, they just think that it's damaged. I mean, there's a massive hole there. So the siding, given that it's likely original, love the color of the paint. The gray and the white works well. You know, these aren't egress windows, but they're not bedrooms down there. I think certainly getting all this cleaned up. So you've got a perimeter. I would bring this perimeter back. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, looking up at the chimney there. There's some discoloration around that flashing, not too much of a big deal. Chimney pots look good. They'll need screens on them if they don't. You do have some damaged shingles here. That'll need taking care of. You know, the driveway's got some wear and tear to it. Not overly concerned. This is kind of a void area. A couple of nice plant pots there would go great. So Gillian was super helpful and kind of gave me a brief summary. Okay, so I definitely think a fence here is a good idea. And then see, all your grading is just super flat. The grading isn't necessarily something that if we've got a budget that you'd want to spend the money on, but the cracked brick and any damaged siding is. So I'm looking down here, you just see kind of where that paint is peeling. It's just They probably didn't sand properly before they painted. You know, these downspouts should be out. Let's go ahead and do that. Not sure what all these little vents are that are covered up. That would be good to know. I'm going to put this vent down here because it is just not even doing its job right. And that moisture gets underneath. So I would definitely finish off the fence here. The shed's fine. Not sure what that is. Pretty old school. Well, I know what it is. An electrical panel. And this just all needs clearing up. I would replace this section of fence to match the fencing here. Your little circular area just needs a really good paint, but not like a slap and coat, you know, a really good paint. I'd replace those little pieces of bench wood or just clean them up, paint them up. But this is a really nice seating area. You get a proper fire pit out here, some nice chairs. This tree growing so close to the foundation is not ideal. You can see that you can't even get the downspout down, and as such, you've got water going towards your foundation there. That is so detrimental. Let's see. Okay. Got that down for you. Even then, sort of where's that moisture, you know, going to and going away from? It's just coming right. Well, it's not. It's going down towards this wall, but better against that wall than against the foundation for sure. Your windows are single pane with storm windows on the exterior. Single pane windows, not the most efficient. I would say that's definitely something that stops people from buying houses these days, especially with the cost of utilities. Now, garage windows, nobody cares. Nobody cares. But windows for the house, they should definitely be taken care of. Looks like something was removed from up by that window up there. You can kind of still see the remainder of that. It's not terrible. It's like some bolts. Not sure what those are. Then maybe there was like some window boxes there. Not the worst thing in the world. Okay. So, you know, getting all this old mastic kind of cleaned up. You can see there where the siding next to the mat is all broken. Pulling down these numbers that are just not in keeping with the style, like a Spanish style. Hey guys, I'm back. Your tenants have been very cooperative, very kind, and very polite, just so you know. Said it, guys. So, what we've got here, Jan, is it's like a half-finished project. There's a lot of work that you've done that's great, that's super cool, and then a lot of little things, medium-sized things that still need to be done. So, you know, we've got these industrial beams, which some people will love, energy efficient lighting, and then we've got these old balustrades that are just kind of hodgepodgey. We've got this old sort of farmhouse door. Yeah, it's all beat up on the inside here where the screen door is gone. Again, old lighting, remnants of the screen door, and that just screams to a potential buyer, well, this was a rental, right? And we don't want to get investment property pricing, we want to get high single family pricing. So up around here, this casement window, you got some cracking. It's not particularly clean. Mismatched light switches, unfinished paintwork, popcorn ceilings. There's a big gouge out there. And then the stairway. I love the white contrasting paint, but that all needs cleaning up. And the tan paint as well is very 1990s. The hardwoods are phenomenal, but you've got 3 different stains on the hardwoods. Yeah, and different style lighting here. Popcorn ceilings. You can see bits of damage from nail pops. Where's that on camera? There, you see that? The crown molding isn't caulked. I mean, this is an amazing rental for these guys, but as a resale property, we got some work to do. You know, paint lines here bled over onto the trim. We've got the old wood and like the 60s, 70s shelving. These look like giant big girls' boobs. Come on, somebody laugh. You laughed, you totally just laughed then. Great size room, huge room. How's your windows over here, guys?
I'm sure these will open up.
Okay. So single pane windows there with storm, which is great. And then the finish on these floors is definitely, and Julian pointed this out, definitely inconsistent. Fireplace is amazing. Love that. Love the brick here. This seems to be relatively undamaged. Definitely paint all these shelves. No popcorn in here, but popcorn here for sure. But this would get staged as a dining area. This is a huge, big family room. We've got some touch up here as well. And then we'd stage this as like a reading area. A couple of nice armchairs. More mismatched lighting. In your older windows. The floor in here doesn't match again. We could do with getting these doors repaired. Hinges are covered in paint. So I'd say a large portion of the home needs painting. Now this kitchen's amazing, right? We've got another kind of eat-in area here. Floors are different once more. Different size lighting, different styles of lighting. Your cabinets are off. And then when the old cabinets came down, the ceiling wasn't finished properly. So you can see that. I think the beam could be an amazing, amazing feature, but right now there's just so much going on in terms of different styles. I don't dislike the red countertops as much as I thought I would, but I do dislike the red knobs. And the red behind the counter. It's all very, very, very taste specific. And this is kind of cool, but you know, unfinished nails and gaps here. I mean, I'd say this is screaming out for a proper backsplash. Cabinets again aren't level. The Twin ovens are awesome. These handles are great. These countertops are lovely. I don't love the feet. And then obviously you've got a dishwasher here where you had to make a platform. Where's that? And Gillian pointed out a section of floor down here that isn't finished properly. And you've got trim here that kind of doesn't match anything. Need some good caulk around the windows. See that? Love that desk. I think that's phenomenal. I really do. You can see you've even got the blue paint left up here, the blue tape. This is all kind of gunked up. Under the microwave and cabinets, we've got the base flooring. I like the floating cabinets, but not when you can see flooring that is mismatched. Then we jump back to the 1960s. This probably was from the kitchen, right? And then bathroom's interesting. I'd say update the toilet seat at least, if not the toilet. You know, get some proper blinds up in here. That window looks to be replaced. This panel, I'm amazed that that's allowed to be like that. And then the drywall texture stop. Didn't get painted around here. We've got all bits of wallpaper. There's no cohesion. You know, we're missing the proper box that goes around that. It's very hodgepodge mismatched. The potential's huge. I mean, it really is. It's definitely a little bit of a rise in the floor here. I'm not too concerned about that. It's just the age of the house. I have a couple of houses that have that same rise. Okay. So again, the doors, caulking, painting, scraping. The garage, that's a whole nother conversation. That said, you don't have to do a ton to a garage. You just got to get it cleaned up. Cleaned out and cleaned up. Unless it's a small garage, it's not going to be make or break for a potential buyer. The garage is kind of the icing on the cake. So you can see kind of damage along here. Blue stairs. Okay, it's a basement. I know people don't care too much about basements, but it should be clean and cohesive. Baby blue, not so much. I'm totally fine with the tile. Tile's fine, but you can see damage down here. And that may well could be from the moisture. Heavy popcorn ceiling down here. Holy shit. That's like Crater of the Moon popcorn ceiling. You know, the easiest thing to do there is frankly just to lay a very thin strip of drywall on the ceiling and then just cover it up. Obviously, egress windows would be great, but nobody's sleeping down here. It's a living room. So, you know, I'd still consider, if you're going to get the windows done, popping in new windows. It's not expensive for that size of window. Great space, though. I mean, really is huge space. This is one of those corners where the brick was cracked. Not too bad. Not seeing any active moisture. Don't know what that is. But yeah. I take off some of the light fixtures upstairs and bring them down here and then match up the light fixtures upstairs. This is cool though, I like this. This is fine. Just paint the steps. You know, this should be painted. Get some trim. I don't know if the trim was taken off here on purpose. Another great storage room. Brandon looked at the boiler, you know, only, as I've mentioned to you, only master plumbers can now take on boilers, and Brandon's more master HVAC. But he says it's running. There's a little drip that he pointed out to Jillian that's caused this damage here. See that there? It's running, but as I mentioned before, so much is about perception. And when a buyer comes in and says, I want this much money, or a buyer will come in and say, I know you want this much money, but there's, you know, a giant piece of rusted metal on my furnace, on my boiler, they start to back away. So see those white salts down there? That's a fluorescence, I believe. It's not the worst I've seen by any means, but you can see that the wood has started to soak up some of the moisture, and that moisture's coming in probably from that negative grading. A lot of cobwebs in here. It's going to be a lot easier to get things done, obviously, when there's no tenants in here. So you got your old lighting, and this isn't cute period lighting. It's kind of like cheap. A crack above there. Not too much of a big deal. Can't see in your crawl space. So that's for another day. But this could all be cleaned up. I wouldn't spend too much money down here. It is a basement bathroom. You know, nobody's sleeping down here. But I do think a door would be a good idea. And I'm seeing some cracking on the tile down there. Old light switches. Must have glued something up here at some point. But this is a phenomenal room. I mean, it's, God, you know, if you've got teenagers, throw them down this basement, sleepovers, that's great. But unfortunately, buyers don't have vision unless the price is right. Damaged weather stripping. You know, these light switches are kind of funky. They're a bit industrial. Okay. I'll put my head in here. Just needs cleaning out. I don't know what this is. And we've got holes in the wall from baby gates. Tons of scrapes, missing texture, mismatched lights. And a different finish on these floors. The floor's not very well stained. And you have that Swedish wood style. That's nice actually, but it all just needs cleaning up. Fan's broken. I do love this deck outside. That's super cool. It's all beat up there. This might be the best room in the house. So paint definitely needed. Here are the hinges. Oh, you're good, man.
Oh.
This
There's
is
4 college kids that lived here before us that left behind some of their handiwork.
yeah.
Like this right here. This is a hole in the wall that's been painted over with a muffin wrapper.
Is it a muffin wrapper?
Yeah,
I did wonder. You know, all your hinges and handles are all old brass. This is a lovely bathroom, but needs a new light fixture. It's rusty. Needs a new light fixture up there. Come on, camera. Love this window. Love this counter. Obviously, they left the original tub, but that's fine. Just needs cleaning up. 1 silver handle, 1 gold. That's super old school. Massive closets. The doors would need to be replaced. You know, paint touch up for sure. Where they've painted blue up here, there's orange still coming through. Door doesn't match color-wise. That needs updating. I'd say the mirror needs updating. This is great. Bathtub's showing some damage there. Oh no, it's hair. Okay. That needs to be taken care of. You can probably hear that. Missing paint again. It just needs a big old facelift. You know, it doesn't seem like, well, other than the cracked brick on the outside, it doesn't seem like structurally needs too much. But it needs to be more cohesive and a little more up to date. And I would say that once your current tenants have vacated, that's when it would be best to come in and just put a giant big punch list together. And would categorize everything A, B, C in terms of importance. Cool house though. I mean, it's a cool house. Guy that used to own the Rio lives behind you. Well, used to live behind you. Yeah, those trees do need some branches taken off, but at least they're not hanging near the house. Let's do it.